Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we have no more snafus. We are streaming. I made sure to click it, so if you are on Twitch right now, you are watching us live and in person, and I am Chris Zane.
And I am Chad Lee. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you as always for tuning into Fringe Fanatics. We appreciate each and every single one of you. We got a good one for you this week.
Yeah.
We got some Steelers talk coming in hot and heavy.
Yeah.
We have...
Maybe we're jumping on the AFC North before Hard Knocks does.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just it. They copied
roll.
us.
So, yeah, we got Chris Carter from the Locked On Steelers podcast coming on
Yep.
At 5:30, which if you're listening after the fact does not matter. And if you are listening after the fact, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, make sure to leave us a review, and as always... share us wherever you can.
And to our number one fan out there, Juice. I want some input tonight. You're always on top of it.
Juice will
Let's
be
see
on.
what you got
Juice,
tonight,
Juice
man.
hops on all the time.
Number one fan, dude.
Yeah, we gotta love it. We got one. Well, and our moms. And our significant others. So we got a few, but we're working our way up, and we appreciate everybody who's been coming on each and every week. We've got more and more downloads, more listens.
It's slowly building.
It's slowly creeping up.
Got some good guests coming up.
Got a bunch of good guests, and we are stoked. But it is episode 88, which means... We got a Chiefs guy, Chad.
I couldn't turn down this one.
Thankfully, yeah, he's like, man, I didn't want to bring up Kelsey this week, but he knew the only reason he did that is because he knew that this week he was going to have Mr. Tony Gonzalez.
Yes,
one of the best tight ends. Which sucks that you guys now have had two of like
Crazy.
the top 5 tight ends of all time.
It's nuts. It was really fun going through and looking at these stats to prep for tonight, and I mean, it just blows me away when we. Here on ESPN and different like talking heads kind of just bringing up Travis Kelce if he's the greatest of all time, and he definitely can get included in that conversation. And then you see Tony Gonzalez's numbers, man, and it's like way out of reach. Like Travis is right there on Earth, and then Tony is just dancing on the moon with
out
all
there
of
in
his
the
stats.
stratosphere.
Stratosphere is right, man. But
yeah, I mean, he was like the first. I mean, like, of, like, the new age tight ends, he was, like, the first, and he was the only one for a while.
Yeah, I think, didn't Antonio Gates play basketball, too?
Oh, I mean, in terms of guys that have done both, yeah, but I just mean, like, there was, like, Tony Gonzalez, and then there was, like, a gap. And then it was almost, like, Gronkowski, Kelsey, like, all these guys started coming into the league, but... Tony Gonzalez, Anthony David Gonzalez, if you will. He played, obviously, 17 seasons in the NFL, regarded as one of the greatest tight ends of all time. He's also the NFL's all-time leader in receiving yards and receptions by a tight end, along with ranking 3rd in overall receptions.
That's wild.
Yeah, he spent his first 12 seasons with the Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, who selected him in the first round of the 1997 NFL Draft. During his last 5 seasons, he was on the Falcons and dang old Dirty Birds, which, if you are a fan of the Dirty Birds, tune in next week.
That's true.
A little bit of a teaser for you. Since retiring in 2013, though, he has been always on the TV. He's a handsome man. He's very likable.
Got that Mario Lopez kind of look to him.
Yeah, a little bit. But he's now primarily on Fox Sports. He was on CBS Sports prior. But yeah, he's done a lot.
NFL Prime.
Yeah, NFL Prime.
Yeah, so Tony Gonzalez finished his career with 14 Pro Bowl selections, the most for a tight end and second most in league history. In addition to receiving 6 first-team All-Pros, known for his durability and rarely fumbling, Gonzalez appeared in 270 of 272 regular season games. Wow, lost only 2.
This is insane.
Wow, I feel like a noob, a Chiefs noob for not knowing this.
This is an insane stat.
Listen to this,
read.
guys. Tune in. Tony Gonzalez lost only 2 fumbles on 1,327 touches. He was inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2019.
You would think just by chance you would lose 30.
That's some strong hands right there,
Yeah,
man. I mean,
fingers.
sometimes like the ball's oblong. You can get it poked
But you get
out.
that point, dude. That's what I always say. Put it in the bread
You
basket.
gotta wedge it in there, man.
Yeah.
That's
But
impressive.
That is crazy.
Yeah, hats off to Tony Gonzalez. He honestly, I wanted to mention as well. He's one of the reasons I fell in love with football. He, along with Trent Green and Priest Holmes, that was kind of I came around late. I was just like, I was hunting and fishing a lot of it, and then around the middle school with those teams, they were just killing it. And Dick Vermeil's teams that got me into it, and Tony G dunking over the field goal post back when you could do that. Yeah, he's one of the reasons it got me so into it.
They still can't do that, huh?
Yep.
Oh, because they're worried about him throwing off. That's what it was.
They were
of them bending the goalpost, because then it took them forever to fix it. This is also crazy. I didn't ever really realize where he went to college, and he went to the University of California, Berkeley.
Yep.
Majored in communications, which now makes a whole lot of sense considering that he went on to do nothing but TV after the fact.
Yeah.
But he, like Chad mentioned and alluded to earlier, played both football and basketball. He was a member of the California Golden Bears football team. He played tight end under future NFL coach Steve Mariucci.
Oh, wow.
He was also an all Pac-10 and All-America selection. He went on to continue his basketball career at Cal. In his junior year, he played in 28 games, averaging 6.8 points, 5.4 rebounds per game. And California made it to the Sweet 16, actually, in the NCAA tournament that year.
That makes sense. I mean, he was so good at like blocking out and using his body to kind of like shield the defender to catch the ball. I mean, there's a lot of facets of basketball that kind of played into his game.
Yeah, and then he went on to say real quick, and then we'll run down his whole bunch of just stats. But he had to choose eventually between the two, basketball or football. On the difficulty between the transition, Tony said, "You get done playing football, and then you transition to basketball," which had already been going for a month. But ultimately, the decision was pretty much made for me, and he decided to forego his final year of eligibility to declare for the NFL draft. So, yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so like we said, 6-time first team All-Pro, 4-time second team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowl selections. NFL receptions leader, NFL 2000s All-Decade team, NFL 100 anniversary all-time team, and Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame. Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing tight end.
Yeah, look at his total receiving yards, 15,127, and his receiving touchdowns, 111. He is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And he is 2,000 yards above Jason Witten for the tight end receiving yards record, too. So, I mean, it's like we talked about. He's in a stratosphere.
Yeah, he's out there on his own. A league of his own.
Damn right. Well,
cheers to him.
Cheers to Tony G.
Tony G. Cheers to each and every one of you for tuning in or listening each and every week. We appreciate you all.
We love you guys.
Yes, cheers to you, Chad.
Cheers, buddy. Back to the Jack Daniels.
Oh, it burns my lips. I think my lips got a little chapped.
Coffee's good for.
All right.
All right, let's keep rolling along.
Yes, let's.
How was your week, dude? I'm dying to know. How was
we
your
didn't talk.
first...
Work's been crazy.
I purposely don't talk to you at work so that we can discuss things.
Monday,
here.
I've realized sometimes I think you're mad at me. I'm like, he's mad at me.
And it's not.
I'm just holding on. Yeah.
I want to talk to you so bad.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no.
That's how I
feel. Hold off.
I'm glad to know that we're both struggling.
Yeah.
But this weekend went pretty well. Friday, we... I don't even remember what we did on Friday night.
When did you get the dog? Saturday or Friday?
We picked him up Saturday night.
Okay.
So Saturday we finished getting some stuff ready for the dogs to be there permanently, and then we went to one of Meryl and her mom's family friends from way back, 50th anniversary party.
Wow.
And there was a bunch of old people there who I feel like was like a looking into the future, looking into the looking glass of the future, if you will. A bunch of old dudes reminiscing about the past, but like having to repeat and stuff because they can't hear anymore.
Oh, shit.
They all have hearing aids. They're all in their mid-70s.
That's always hard to watch. It's always a wake-up call when you see that. You're like, man, maybe I need to go run.
It is, but then it also made me feel like these people didn't take care of themselves at all.
Yeah.
And they're in their mid-70s. I'm in my mid-30s. if I in the next couple years start taking care of myself, I've got a good chance. You know?
There's hope.
Yeah, there's hope. But that was pretty good. And then after that, we left to go pick up the dogs. And yeah, things have been going pretty good.
Nice.
No real
issues.
No real issues. The dogs have been pretty well behaved. Which we now know what the beagle mix is. She's a treeing Walker Coonhound.
Oh, whoa.
Which is a very strange name.
Yeah. I mean, those dogs, that's like where the red fern grows, man. Those Coonhounds. Yeah, they're serious business.
And beagle. So, and then the other one is, bless you, Boxer and, damn it, Boston Terrier.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So
Boxers are cool dogs. I like boxers.
Yeah. The only real issue we had was the Maddie, the Coonhound, had a little bit of stomach issue the first night. So
that's understandable.
She was a little.
How's it been having some company in there though?
It's definitely nice.
Yeah.
You don't realize how nice it is to like have something else to not it just be the two of you.
Yeah.
You know?
It's great because it almost deflects sometimes. There's times where like we've kind of been maybe in a small argument,
yeah.
You know, just, you know, there's a little tension. And then we can easily just look over and be like, man, little man's so cute.
Yeah.
And then just, we forget about it all.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, and my thing, too, a lot is like, if shit sucks at work one day, like, I come in with that, and it has nothing to do with Meryl at all.
Yeah.
But I'm just, like, pissed about the day or pissed about, you know, things in general. But then you see the dogs right away, and they're pumped to see you.
Instantly
and
changes.
You're just like, well, how can I be mad?
It's great,
like,
man.
They're stoked to see us.
Yep.
So,
I mean, hats off to everybody. Hats off to everybody.
Oh, by the way, check out the Mark Martin archery hat Chad Lee's wearing here.
Represent Dad. Whenever I went
Papa
back,
Mark.
He gave me this, so that was cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, you know, hats off to people with kids. But the thing is, you know, it's like once they get to a certain age, you can come home from a 12-hour day and they could care less.
Yeah, they'll make it worse. They're like, screw you, Dad.
Leave to go to the grocery store and 2 blocks away forget my phone, and come back, and the dogs are going to act like I just left for vacation. It is great. It's great. Every time. I'll take it.
So it's definitely been nice. I don't really see it as much of an adjustment. Like, it's falling right back into the same stuff for me. My mornings, it's been a little bit of an adjustment because now I have more stuff to do. But I think I got that figured out now, so we're all good there.
Cool.
But yeah, other than that, things have been good, man. We've just been doing the dog stuff. And
what's the latest on the Buick?
Buick's fixed. I've been driving it.
Oh, I did see it today.
Yeah.
Wow, when did you get it back?
When was it? Thursday? Or no, Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's
now
cool.
everything's covered. The turbo was just, squared away, but had to pay for the labor, which sucked.
Yeah.
But now it's covered again, so if it blows up again,
they better pay for it.
Now everything's covered. So
awesome.
Because we ended up going to Christian Brothers, which you touted.
Yep.
Said they treated you pretty well.
Well, they are Christian.
They are. It's in the name.
Blessed be.
So.
That's right.
But yeah, honestly, they were great. They got it done sooner than they said they would, and it was insanely cheaper than like Meineke.
Oh wow!
But because like Meineke, to take it out and put it back in, and the turbo was like they wanted almost $5,000. I
wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I think Christian Brothers was right around $1,000, but still sucked.
Sucks.
But hopefully it runs for a while.
Yeah, I sure hope so, man.
Yeah. If it doesn't, I'm just gonna leave it somewhere and hope someone steals it, and just like get the insurance money. And then I'll delete this if that ever happens.
Yeah,
So
we'll just completely eliminate this episode.
Oh, no, I'll just cut this part out and repost it. But, other than that,
Cool.
things have been going good, man.
Nice.
What about your weekend? Let's get into it.
Well, my weekend was really chill. I honestly, we didn't do a whole lot other than just kind of lots of relaxing. We went to the pool, got some yard work done Saturday, nothing too exciting. Friday night, we did get a little weird and watched Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh.
Yeah. It was
Nice.
cool. Dude, I love those movies, man.
Yeah.
They're funny.
Every once in a while, those are great to just kind of.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. You know, you get in the right headspace, and they're very entertaining. But we watched, and I can't recommend this enough if you like horror movies, Late Night with the Devil. Have you heard of this one?
Late Night with the Devil, no. But it's hard to keep up anymore.
You got to check this one out, man. It is a way different twist on demonic possession than you've ever seen before. And it is it's totally worth it. It gets a little out there. Gets a little crazy.
They all do anymore.
But this one it's so great, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think you will too. Check out Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil. Okay.
It's my favorite combo. When we get a little high on Friday nights, where we watch a kids movie and then we watch a scary movie. Brings the balance, the yin and yang to it all. But
no, you
so
got to. Every once in a while, you gotta have the good stuff. And then a little bit of the bad stuff.
Yep. And then I was excited to get Game of Thrones back. House of Dragon came back on Sunday night.
I still haven't watched the first season of House of Dragon.
Oh, wow. Dude,
you
you read the books, too, for the old ones.
Yeah, I think I did read all of them.
Yeah, we kind of read them around the same time.
Oh, yeah, we were. Because Kevin Lovato, rest in peace.
Yep.
He just talked about it. You guys always were talking about it.
Yeah.
It's always that thing when you spend, 40 hours of your week with people, and then 2 of them that you spend most of that time with are talking about shit. You're like, I might as well
try to check it out. Yeah,
which they're great books, but now they still haven't finished.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, House of Dragons set way before the old ones.
It's not even books, though, right?
No,
it's just made up.
George R. R. Martin's very involved. Yeah, I heard you say that again today.
It's from South Park. Yeah. George R. R. Martin.
It's like if you write fantasy sci-fi, you've got to put R.R. in it, because J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think that's why George R. did that, too, though.
I don't know what their names are, but I want to say it's just Robert Regal. I don't know why.
Who's Robert Regal?
I don't know.
Like
George
the real,
Robert Regal Martin.
I bet Robert's definitely one of them. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But
nice. So, did that Friday night.
Yep.
Rest of the weekend. Tell me about it.
Well, Saturday we just went to the pool. We relaxed. Came back, and she made up some shredded barbecue chicken sandwiches, man. Fucking on point, dude. It was fantastic.
How did you do? Did you get like chicken breasts?
Threw the chicken breast in the crock pot. Put some barbecue sauce. I thought she was just gonna do simple barbecue sauce. Throw chicken in the crock pot, shred it up. No, she went and put her whole witchcraft into it. Did like brown sugar, a little bit of Italian dressing, Q39 barbecue sauce. That was maybe the kicker. That is the best barbecue sauce I've ever had. Great barbecue restaurant from Kansas City. I brought it back when I went to the airport before I left Kansas City. And yeah, I mean, dude, I could not believe how good these barbecue chicken sandwiches were. I told her, I said, we are going to do these again very soon.
Dude, I mean, honestly, chicken, I love a good steak.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you had to tell me, we might have talked about this before, I can honestly probably just do chicken. Like, if you had to tell me you have one meat for the rest of your life.
See, we've done this before.
You
Her
did.
and I have had this debate. I think mine would be shrimp. I love shrimp, dude.
Okay. I guess I wasn't.
I'm sorry. I'm like any meat possible.
Okay.
You're going to choose
seafood.
chicken?
If you seafood's in there, I'm
Yeah.
going to take seafood, though, because there's
Well, not
there's
just
a
yet, but which
variety.
one, though? Crab legs, lobster?
Oh, well, you're saying.
It's
Because I was
nailed
thinking,
down which one.
I was thinking like chicken, steak, pork, or chicken, beef, pork, shrimp, or I'm shrimp, Jesus Christ. Chicken, beef, pork, seafood.
Okay.
And then, like, those are your main. Like, if you had to pick one of those.
Yeah. One.
Seafood, because of variety.
But which seafood's your favorite? If you had to pick that you could only have for the rest of your life.
Oh, man. I love salmon.
Really? You like it that much?
I love smoked salmon and shit, though.
Yeah, that's
we
good.
always do that. But I mean, if you could splurge or whatever, like crab legs or lobster.
See, I
for
love
sure.
crab legs. I totally agree. But I'm such a pig. I want to eat. It takes too much work to eat the crab legs, dude.
Yeah, no,
But it's
that's
great.
the thing that sucks. Is like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of work, not a lot of meat, unless you
Yeah.
get monster ones.
You
but,
just fucking crack it, and then you get a tiny little bit of piece.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that was it. And then Sunday we went to the pool again, got a little bit more of a tan, and then it's been nice going back to the pool because I've been reading again. Been reading Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. Been listening to it at work too.
Oh yeah, I saw you post that, and I was like, Chad doesn't read.
Yeah, I do at the pool, and then I listen at work. Yeah, so it's great because whatever I listen to, I just like will move the bookmark to where I'm at. But dude, it's a great book, man. It all goes into like what makes an outlier, different outliers of the past, the whole 10,000 hour rule, and all that shit. So
okay.
Yeah, it's been motivating.
So it's like more of like a self-help book, if you will.
In a sense, kind of almost more of like an explanation of like what makes these outliers. Like it's not. Sometimes it is the circumstances at which like sometimes like they went over hockey players. That was one of the first
nature versus nurture type shit.
A little bit. Like he went over like different hockey players that excelled from Canadian leagues and how these kids were like 4 or 5 whenever they were going into these like youth all-star things.
Yeah.
And he noticed that all of the players that were selected in the all-star things were born like after January, I believe it was. Almost like every single one of them. And there was a tendency because those were the oldest kids. So the parents waited till they were eligible. And like there's all these differing factors.
Yeah,
like
it's like
that.
when you have those kids who are like in first grade, but they should have been in second grade.
Yep. That's one topic. They were like,
because we had a buddy like that growing up who like got like he started late, and he was for one he was a giant, but he started. He was in the same year we were, but he technically I feel like was supposed to be in the next year.
Yeah,
and it's just like well of course you should. You're basically
it totally changes things up. They brought up the premise that
leg
like
up.
If you were to
Meryl
take
said
kids,
it's probably astrology.
Astrology?
Yeah,
for what?
For all of it as to why.
I don't know. That hasn't come up yet.
Then she said, just kidding.
Some of it, but I mean, it does fall a lot like when they're born and stuff like that, because what you were talking about with like schools, there are a lot of instances, and he brings up the kind of theory where like if you had a school and classes that were so much like kids born from different, like 4 different parts of the year, you wouldn't have so much like competitiveness, because you could have a young kid that his grades are falling behind because the oldest kid set the curve and it's just not equal. So, yeah, kind of interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I do have one thing that may kind of weirdly enough, the 50th anniversary, I totally forgot. We ran into somebody who actually knows Gregory Maher.
No. How's that?
He was there, which we were trying to figure out, and you could probably help solve this. The time we went, when Greg was imbibing in the nose beers and got sick prior, what game was that not like one of the first times we went to the games?
I think that was the first time we went to a game.
That's what I said. I think it was the first time. Yeah. So the son of the people who we were there for their 50th anniversary party was one of Greg's friends there that day.
Oh, no way, man. Yeah. Seriously, small world.
We said that same thing.
That's crazy.
Like, you know Greg? And I was like, Gregory Maher? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, holy shit. He's like, I know you, and I was at the game, and I was like, are you talking about the one when Greg got like ill before we even walked into the stadium?
Pretty much.
Like we showed up and Greg's like, we're over here in like Lot E, and then we went over to Lot E and Greg's just he's on one.
He yacked in the parking lot.
Yeah, yacked right away. And I'm just like, you're already puking.
Yeah.
And then we go to the game, and then like by the third quarter, we're trying to find him, and he disappeared.
He had left.
Was that the one that we walked home from?
No, that was the overtime game.
Oh,
that was the Sunday night game, I think is what it was.
It was like the second or third time. It might have been like the third time we went.
When we walked home,
because you still lived over there off Sheridan.
Yep.
But yeah, nonetheless, crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
So literally, it was almost like a full circle moment. That guy was there. He was there for the beginning of this podcast.
A little bit.
Yeah. So
that's wild.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. That's cool.
Pretty nuts. So
does he still talk to Greg?
I don't know if he does. He didn't seem to know what was going on with Greg, because I kind of told him that Greg was sober now, and he's like, oh, I didn't even know that. So it's obviously been a while. But his name was... Hold on a second.
Well, Greg's been too cool for us, partying with Johnny Manziel and shit.
Yeah, you play a couple rounds with Johnny Manziel, all of a sudden you're too cool for school.
Guess so.
Gabe Bianchi was his name. So.
I like Bianchi bites.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, But anyways, kind of a small world crazy type of thing.
Well, that is pretty nuts, man. Glad we had some good weekends.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's wrap up the weekends. Let's get into a little bit of the NFL headlines. There's not too much to cover. And then we are going to get Mr. Chris Carter on, not the one that played for the Vikings, but one of the ones that's
a different
on.
one.
Yes, a different one. So let's get into the NFL.
Personal foul. 69. Offense. He was giving them the business.
And we are giving you the business of football. So a couple cool things that one really cool thing, and then two things that are just kind of newsworthy. The Lions sign kicker Jake Bates, who is a UFL kicker, and he was one of the standout kickers this year. I believe
we covered this.
Yeah, we did cover. Was he the DDOE?
I don't think he was a DDOE, but
he was definitely an NFL.
It was like
headline.
the third or fourth week of, I think it was only like second or third week of UFL. This guy had already booted like two or three 60-yard field goals, and we were like, he's gonna get signed.
Yeah.
Who did they replace? I can't even remember who the Lions were using last year.
Ooh, I don't know. But keep talking about that. I'll figure it out.
It wasn't Matt Prater, was it? Because I know they used to have
he's-
him. That was a long time ago.
I want to say he was on the Cardinals last, but
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, that's really cool. He signed a deal worth, did you already say the numbers? $1.98 million, $158,000 guaranteed. And then a $10,000
no, 100,000.
Oh, is that 100?
Yeah,
extra zero there.
I didn't put the extra
comma.
zero or the comma. So, but yeah, I mean that's super cool because I mean that's what we talked about was supposed to be the whole point of what is now the UFL. I mean, it was supposed to be what the XFL was, but that failed. And so they just were like, well, let's combine the two because why have two that nobody's going to watch?
And
let's put one that some people might watch. And
then you guys just worked out a defensive lineman, I think, today from the UFL.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
but,
I can't remember his name, but I saw he was from the UFL.
Yeah, so it's starting to work a little bit, but, you know.
Let's keep moving down the
Juice
list.
just said, heard Brady got booed for commentating the UFL. Laugh out loud.
Nice. See, we were looking forward to your comment, Juice.
He might have been there. He did hop on a little bit earlier. But, I mean, the championship just happened. I forget who won, but it was
I think it was the Birmingham something beat Wade Phillips' team. They shut him out.
Wade Phillips, his first championship game in his entire coaching career.
I think it's shut out.
A UFL team. What was it, like 25-0?
Yeah.
25-0 in a snooze fest. It was scoreless until just before halftime. Generated an average audience of 1.6 million fans, which is more than I thought.
That is kind of crazy.
That is a lot more than I thought.
That's a lot more than I thought it would be.
But yeah, it was the most watched spring football game since the original XFL in 2001.
That's pretty cool. Well, you know, good for The Rock. He's bringing it back.
He is, man.
All right, let's run down the list. This one kind of really bummed me out because I don't like to see the Bengals do well, and they did bring back T. Higgins. They put the franchise tag on him, but it was up to him to sign it, and it looks to me like he has signed it and will be playing on the franchise tag this year. Now, what are they going to do about Jamar Chase? I mean, paying Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and what is the $24 million for a franchise tag for wide receiver?
That's what I was just trying to Google what it is. If there was a
my guess is it's
number.
23, I think.
It's got to be in the mid-20s, and then, yeah, with Jefferson now basically resetting it, I don't even know.
Right before you got here, I saw on SportsCenter CeeDee Lamb still hasn't reported to minicamp.
Yeah, and so he's going to be next.
Yeah, and
the crazy thing, and this is what's kind of stupid about it, it's like the next guy up is going to get paid, and that's going to lead us into the next thing. Trevor Lawrence gets paid, and
5 years,
$275 million, $200 million guaranteed, $142 million guaranteed at signing.
And he's won
Dude
2
just
playoff
became
games.
a fucking 100 millionaire.
Yeah.
After one signing, and that was our first cuss. We are at
we're doing good.
529. But needless to say, I sent Chad
Yeah, that was
a
pretty
meme
cool.
earlier that was like basically comparing him to Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And the stats are almost identical.
It's ridiculous. It's like these agents are basically being like, well, that guy got paid. Why doesn't my guy get paid?
My guy deserves to get paid because that guy got paid.
And it makes no sense, even though they don't really deserve it. Trevor Lawrence has never made an All-Pro. He's won 2 playoff games. One of them was really miraculous, where he did come down from 27-0 to beat the Chargers a couple years ago. And I mean, he was really injured at the end of last year, but I mean, we still have yet to see Clemson Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is time to get to our guest. We are going to call Chris Carter of the Locked On Steelers podcast. So don't mind the ringing you're about to hear, and let's hope we have no issues. Here we go. I'll take this one.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. This is Chris Zane from Fringe Fanatics. You got Chad Lee over here
What's
as
up,
well.
man?
How you doing?
I'm all right. How y'all doing?
We are doing very good, man. So I am a Broncos fan, and one of the main reasons I was excited to talk to you obviously has to do with one of your guys' biggest free agent signings this year, which is Russ. But before we get into it, give us a little bit of a rundown of, yourself, basically.
My name is Christopher Carr. I work for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette here in Pittsburgh, covering both the Pitt Panthers and football and basketball, as well as, helping out with the Steelers. I also do the Locked On Steelers podcast, the daily Steelers podcast, also covering the Steelers that you can find on YouTube and on your favorite podcasting apps. I also work with our local NBC station, Channel 11, WPXI, on several things related to the Steelers and all things football here. So I wear lots of hats, gentlemen, just part of the business, I guess.
Yeah, man, you are a jack of all trades, and
Very
sounds like
impressive.
a master of a few. So that's awesome, man. But let's get into it, man. So obviously, I brought it up. Russell Wilson, biggest thing. How's he looking so far?
Is he going to be cooking in Pittsburgh?
What is his catchphrase this year, first of all?
I think his big thing is he keeps saying, "Here we go," because that's like the Steeler thing. Like they say, "Here we go, Steelers." Hashtag "Here we go" goes with the part of it is I think Russ isn't coming in here with any illusions of grandeur about that he's more important or that he's like high up on the roster as far as like who brings the value to the team, if you know what I'm saying. Like this is a team that it's established leaders, TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, and so, and it's a team that's going to be led by defense. He's been briefed on what the offense is going to be. It's not going to be some high-flying passing offense. Like in Denver, you had Jerry Jeudy, you had Cortland Sutton. Like there was some hopes that like, hey, maybe this offense with Russell Wilson can put up some serious numbers through the air. Well, that's not going to be the goal here in Pittsburgh. It's going to be to run the ball, have a more balanced attack overall with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, and still work the passing game in. You got George Pickens, you got Pat Freiermuth, and there's some rumors that they might be making other moves to get another wide receiver, or they might just try to use some of these other guys that they have at different positions in different ways. But I think Russell Wilson is fitting in well. What we've seen so far, and what we've talked to players so far, he's very on time with things. I think that's the one thing is he's very prepared. And the Steelers, if you look at the quarterback play they've had really since the 2018 version of Ben Roethlisberger, it's just been highly inconsistent. Like there's even been times where things have been good, and even like in 2020 with Ben Roethlisberger, but they haven't had consistent franchise quarterback level play or even standard quarterback play consistently in years. And that's why it's remarkable that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing record despite that. You take that away from most teams, and they're probably falling apart at the seams, but not the Steelers. And I think that's where Russell Wilson comes in. No one's going to ask him to be elite. No one's asking him to run and gun and, lead the league in touchdowns or even make the Steelers a top 10 offense. But if he makes them a middling offense, like they've been winning 10 games and, getting into the playoffs with an offense that ranks in the bottom 5 of the league most years. If they can keep an elite defense, which they've added to, and I think that they will, and they're able to make this offense even ranked like 16th in the NFL, that's going to be a problem of a team to face. They're not Super Bowl contenders, but they can be, bigger problems in the AFC than what people realize.
Well, that's what I wanted to touch on is your defense, man. I definitely think bringing in Arthur Smith is the right recipe to get Russell Wilson to that level, because we look at what he did at Tennessee. It wasn't like a glamorous, like high-flying offense, but it was an offense that led him to the playoffs, and it was a stable and a ground attack offense. And when you got guys like Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris there, I think he's going to utilize those guys more than ever. But on the defensive side, I listened to you guys' episode a few days ago where you guys talked about your young defensive guys, and that's been the big question for a long time. If TJ Watt's hurt, that defense looks totally different. Is there going to be anybody else that helps Cam Hayward? So I want to ask about Keanu Benton. You guys have talked about how he's starting to look a little better. Do you think he takes that next leap this year?
I think he takes a leap. I don't think he takes the big leap that will ultimately be where he's at when he's like in the prime of his career this year or anything like that. But I think that he can be an even better guy. I talked to Carl Dunbar, Steelers defensive line coach, and he straight up said, he left 7 sacks on the table. He's really good at starting plays. He just wasn't great at finishing them. And he's like, if you could imagine an interior defensive lineman getting 7 sacks, as a rookie, that would have been, unheard of. That would have been like, okay, everyone got to turn and watch for him. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to get 7 sacks this year, but, when I talked to Keanu Benton, he acknowledged, I have to finish plays better. I'm really good at this part, but I got to get to this part. And I think he's going to be a step up. And I do agree. It's a huge problem for the Steelers. TJ Watt, and this is what I talk about when people say, who's the most valuable player on defense in the NFL? Who brings the biggest value? You look at the Steelers' record with TJ Watt, they win 60 to 65%.
He should have got Defensive Player of the Year, man. Even missing that game last year or 2 games, whatever it was, I think he still deserved Defensive Player of the Year.
I mean, he had more sacks, more tackles, more broken passes, more interceptions, more turnovers. He had more everything than Myles Garrett. But the PFF says, he's better because we think that he looks cooler in the pass rush, whatever.
Yeah,
that's a whole debate. But the thing is, another way to look at it, like I said, they win 60 to 65% when he's on the field. They're 1-11. Actually, I think they're 1-12 now because of the Bills game in the playoffs this year. They're 1-12 when he's not on the field. And that's how important TJ Watt is to the Steelers. Now, I also think that, like you said, I think that they've added pieces that they can manage it more because, Nick Herbig, I think, had a really good rookie season spelling in for what they needed at the edge rusher position. I think that this year he'll be even better. I also think that the support that they have around the defense, that, Joey Porter Jr. is going to be a much better corner, I think, as a second-year player than he was a rookie. And with that, I think that's going to be a better cornerback that they've had since Joe Hayden first got to the team in 2017 and 2018. And that's a serious step up. That's another asset that you can use. I also think that, when we talk to the coaches, there's an acknowledgement hey, we messed up how we used Minkah Fitzpatrick last year because Minkah Fitzpatrick is a turnover creator. We tried to use him as a chess piece that moved all around the board. We need him to stay right in the middle of the defense, playing the deep ball, and playing free safety and let him go chase down interceptions. And they took him away from that. They're going to get him back to that, and that's why they've added guys like Patrick Queen to help at the linebacker position, where Minkah Fitzpatrick was helping there. Deshaun Elliott to be a better strong safety, where Minkah Fitzpatrick was helping there. And at slot corner with Cam Sutton, where Minkah Fitzpatrick was helping there. So this is going to be a defense that I think has a lot more answers to it than just, hey, TJ Watt, wreck the other team. And crazy enough, that's been good enough for a lot of games, but I think they recognize they have to do a lot more.
Yeah, and you mentioned, they obviously focus was defense in, the free agency, but I did want to bring up another thing. Obviously, Chad mentioned earlier, Arthur Smith's coming in, but he brings in Cordarrelle Patterson, which I think with the new kickoff rules, as well as just as much as he can do in terms of just being an absolute Swiss Army knife, I think this might be the low-key, best signing in terms of free agency, in terms of how much he's actually going to impact the game, whether it be special teams or, just playing running back, wide receiver, whatever they're going to have him do. Because I think the last time he was in an Arthur Smith offense, he got over 1,000 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
It was over 800 that last year, and then the year before it was 1,100 yards. Yeah, so, Arthur Smith really knows how to utilize them.
Well, yeah, and it's funny. I had just talked with him about that, and I think I included that maybe on either a Friday episode or a Monday episode. But he kind of talked about that. He was like, "Yeah, it's like, I hope Arthur gets back on his." Well, he said S word, but yeah, but he was because he had those 2 years. We had 1,100 yards from scrimmage for the first year. The second year he had over 800 yards, and last year he had less than 300. And he's kind of like, yeah, I kind of became less of a focal point. I guess that's what happens when you get Bijan Robinson. And I don't think that Cordero Patterson, no one's expecting him to carry the load or even be a primary option of this offense. But like you said, his ability to line up wide receiver and running back and help you in both departments could be a major asset to give the Steelers just depth at different spots, because they have Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. But what happens when those two guys, one of those guys needs a break or one of those guys gets injured? I think Cordero Patterson is a very good option as a third running back to have there, as well as an option to have as another wide receiver. And you can even kind of have it like a positionless player where it's like, hey, we're just moving this guy all around the formation. Like, he could line up in the backfield, he can line up in the slot, he can line up outside. Wherever he's lining up, you better pay attention to him, because if we get it to him and you give him 5 yards of space, he's a problem. And yeah, kickoff rules are going to be everyone's projecting what's going to happen there. We don't know what that's exactly going to look like in the NFL, but I do think Cordero Patterson is a piece of value. I wouldn't say he's the biggest signing. I think that would be Patrick Queen. But I do think that he was an important signing to give the Steelers a chess piece on offense where Arthur Smith can do some creative things with him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely agree.
I definitely think Jalen Warren, man, I got to just keep highlighting this kid right here, where last year I used him as my flex in fantasy quite a bit. I had a lot of high hopes for him. And the first chunk of the season, he really didn't do a whole lot. And then they started giving him the ball a little more than Najee Harris. I thoroughly enjoy watching him run with the ball, because he never goes down after the first attempted tackle. He runs hard, and he catches the ball really well out of the backfield. So someone like Arthur Smith that utilizes running backs so heavily, I mean, I'm expecting to draft Jalen Warren pretty high in my fantasy drafts, honestly.
I think that would be a very smart move. I think that both Jalen and Najee, the plan is to not wear either down, but use both, use either or a lot. So, if Mike Tomlin had a saying way back when, he was like, we're going to run him till the wheels fall off. And he did that with Willie Parker, who helped the Steelers win their last Super Bowl in Super Bowl 43 and was a big part of those 2000s teams. And then eventually he did run the wheels off Willie Parker. Mm-hmm. And people were concerned he would do that with Le'Veon Bell. I don't think he did. Le'Veon Bell just, left because he had bad advice. But I think that he's mindful of that now. He's like, hey, we got two talented running backs. Let's use them both in different ways, and also in the different ways that give them both advantages. Najee Harris is a tough runner. He's a hard runner in between the tackles. He's going to fall forward most times. He's going to do those things in there, and he's gained 1,000 yards each of his first 3 seasons in the NFL without a really consistent offensive line until I'd say the second half of this past season, and now you're going to give him an offense that's not being directed by Matt Canada, that's not going to have a quarterback that hampers him as much as Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky did in the past few years, and a better offensive line that you've been investing into. So I think Najee Harris will be due, and I also think Jalen Warren will be due. But I also caution people hey, don't go all in on Jalen Warren thinking that he's the future superstar running back, and maybe he is. Maybe he's getting there. I mean, heck, he's actually cousins with Willie Parker, which is a crazy thing. And
no way!
Parker started
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We found that out in training camp when he was like, "Yeah, my cousin was here." We're like, "Who's your cousin?" He's like, "Oh, Willie Parker." We're like, "What?"
Oh, that's crazy.
No big deal.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Just like him, Willie Parker was an undrafted running back that came to the Steelers and then became the star after Jerome Bettis left. So. I think that's where there's a lot of parallels that people draw there. That's why a lot of Pittsburghers are excited about him. But I do think that Jalen, he struggles when teams are focusing on him, and that's something that he hasn't had to deal with, because whenever he was on the field, most teams are like, okay, they're throwing the ball now, or they're doing this. They're trying to get the ball to Pickens or Deontay Johnson or anything like that. And often he has more space to work with. When Najee Harris is on the field, teams are like, we got to take him away, because if he starts to get going, then this team becomes a lot more annoying. So I think as a 1-2 punch, they are a thunder and lightning package that can really do a lot for the Steelers and make them a serious threat on offense. But again, it still depends on the offensive line also doing their job.
Well, and you just mentioned the offensive line and how they've invested in it. You look at the 2024 draft class for the Steelers. You get Zach Frazier out of West Virginia as a center in round 2, pick 51, and then in round 4 they go and get Mason McCormick out of San Diego State. So clearly they are planning on,
Well, then, of course, the first-round draft pick, too, with Big O Fontenot.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
I almost forgot Fontenot.
Big draft pick there.
Yeah. I skipped over that one. No big deal. But, yeah, so clearly they are fully invested in the offensive line. And I think especially with someone like Russell Wilson, who has a tendency to go a little bit outside of what's on schedule in terms of play calling, having a good offensive line that can definitely lock him down in terms of when he gets outside of the pocket is going to be a huge thing moving forward if he's going to be around for a little bit. But we'll see what the plan is.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see how they protect him and how he responds to what their plans are. But I like their chances of I like the way the path that they've set for themselves. Andy Weidel is the director of player personnel for the Steelers front office this year. He was the guy that helped build the Eagles' offensive and defensive lines that became a major factor in their recent, Super Bowl and playoff runs. So him being in Pittsburgh and now they're investing in all that is not a coincidence.
What's his name again? Can you say his name again?
Andy Weidel.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that. I mean, the defensive line and offensive line for the Eagles, I mean, that's like top of the line. So, yeah, that's a big factor right there. And that leads me to my next question. I listened to one podcast you guys had a couple months ago talking about Broderick Jones. So how's it looking after minicamp? Is he going to take the right tackle position or left tackle with Fontenot? How's that looking?
So there's a lot of different possibilities here, and honestly, this is one of the bigger questions that people ask us all the time. As it stands right now, Broderick Jones is working with the first team at right tackle, but with the second team at left tackle. I think ultimately, guys, the path that they want to happen is for Broderick Jones to develop continue developing as a starter, and then when Troy Fautanu is ready to go, they'll place him at right tackle. They'll move Broderick to left, which is his more natural position, and then both will just be dominant tackles at their own spots. I think that's where you'll see the Steelers want to be. Now, how they get there is a big question because Dan Moore Jr., though nowhere near a stalwart player, is a solid player who was a fourth-round draft pick, and he's in his fourth year starting for the team. So he has a lot of experience. And the Steelers do believe in deference. I think it's a big part of their culture that's like, hey, rookies don't just come in and start. They have to earn it unless there's not someone there. And Dan Moore started at left tackle. Now, here's the issue is that Dan Moore Jr., at least what Tomlin's told us before, does not flip to right tackle. Whatever it is, that's not a thing that he's been able to do. So that's why Broderick Jones isn't at left tackle. He's at right tackle right now. And so the complicated question is, when will Troy Fautanu be good enough to play right tackle so that Broderick Jones can move to left tackle? And I think that's where the calculations are going to have to be made in Steelers training camp. How quickly does Fautanu get up to speed? And also how good does Dan Moore Jr. look? Because one thing that Dan Moore Jr. does bring is experience, and experience is important. And especially in the early part of the year, if Fautanu is still kind of catching up to the speed of the game, which when I caught up with him at the end of minicamp, he said, hey, that's kind of what I'm getting used to right now is how quick guys are coming at me. He was doing reps against P.J. Watt. And he was like, yeah, that guy brings like 12 moves with him, and it's tough to guess which one he's going to use. But yeah, so I do think that there's going to be eventually you're going to see Fautanu at right and Broderick at left. But how they get there and when they get there, that's going to be the mystery.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like you said, it's flip-flopping sides. Everybody thinks like, well, just what's the difference? It's like, well, like think about like writing or whatever with your right hand, and then now like trying to go to your left hand. It's a whole different set of everything.
Black and white.
Yeah, it's not the same at all. But yeah, well, I hope it happens well for you guys because I do want to see Russell do well. I felt like he got done dirty a little bit in Bronco land, but I hope this offensive line works out well. I hope you guys have a good year this year. But Chad, do you have any other questions?
I got one more for him. What's your percentage of? What do you think? How much do you think that Brandon Ayuk's going to be a Steeler?
Okay, yeah. I wanted to bring this up, but I want to keep you for too long.
You're fine. I'd say 20%.
Okay.
I don't think that it's likely to happen. I think the Steelers, like, ideally, if this was a perfect world, the Steelers would love to make this happen. He would be a great addition to the offense. But a few things here. One, the Steelers are trying to develop right now and keep bringing in young talent that's going to naturally develop through the draft and keep building the nucleus that they're putting together right now. So they're not going to be inclined to give up a number one pick, a first round pick, for a guy that isn't already like a top 5 wide receiver. And as good as Brandon Ayuk is, let's not play with ourselves. Like, he is a very good receiver, but he's not in the Jamar Chase, what's his face from Minnesota? Why am I blanking on his name right now? Thank you, Justin Jefferson. Because I was going to call him Jordan Addison, but that's because I covered Addison. But he's not in that category. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
He's not in the elite of the elite category. And if you're trading a first-round pick and paying a guy upwards of more than $26 million a year, which is what the Niners have offered him, and he has turned down, then at that point, like, again, you got to be super elite to get that kind of money. So I don't see this happening unless something happens that makes the Niners want to trade him even faster, and they give him up for less, and then also that magically he just comes down on his asking price. I don't think either of those things happen. I think that if he gets traded, he goes to a team that wants to pay top dollar and in both trade revenue or trade capital or draft capital and in their salary cap space. And I don't think the Steelers want to do either right now. So I say 20% simply because the talent would be an awesome fit, and I think that he would do well with the Steelers. But I say, I keep it at 20% because everything else adds up to, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully you basically have a slightly older but a little bit more seasoned veteran in Cordarrelle Patterson that's kind of like Brandon Ayuk to some degree.
Yeah.
But, I don't think he's going to get it. I think the fact with all that he does, like especially with some of it being out of the backfield, like you're not going to get paid like that because the injury risk is too high.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff there that's just working against him. So, but, and again, not to say he isn't a great player and all that, but that's not where I think it's gonna. I don't think the ball's gonna bounce that way for him. I think he either needs to sign with the Niners at what they've asked him, or they need to, someone needs to come along and offer something that moves things forward.
Well, maybe Mike Tomlin has a soft spot in his heart and wants to go for it because maybe thinks it's his long-lost son or something.
They do look alike. Yeah.
They do look very much similar, yeah. Yeah. But, well, we really appreciate the insight, man, and the great analysis. Really appreciate you getting back to us and coming on. My Chiefs, we do have a primetime game with you guys on Christmas.
Don't remind me.
Oh, no.
Let's not talk about the last time Russell Wilson played on Christmas either. So we'll see if he's still playing by then.
But it's not even about playing the Chiefs or Russell. I hate Christmas football. When
I
it's
agree.
Not a Sunday. I get it when it's Sunday, but on a Wednesday, come on.
Yes.
Man.
I am not happy about that.
NBA. Yeah, I was just when I saw that and I thought it was possible and I thought it was likely that the Steelers were going to play on Christmas, I was like, get out of here. Nobody wants to deal with that. Now, on a Wednesday, I'm going to be at Acrisure Stadium, probably going to be cold, probably going to be freezing. I'm going to be tired because it's Christmas Eve the night before, so I'm going to be putting my presents all together. Yeah. I am going to be not a happy camper. I don't care if the Steelers do pull off an upset and I get a lot of cool stories to write afterwards. I am going to be so ticked off that the NFL made me do this. I'm not happy about the Christmas games, but excited to see Patrick Mahomes back in Pittsburgh. It's always awesome to see, one of the best athletes in the world.
That is very true, and as much as it pains me, and I hate to say it, I have to agree with you. He is one of the best athletes in the world, although he doesn't look like it. I don't look like an athlete either, so I don't have much room to speak on that. But, it's always great to see Patrick Mahomes live. I've had to watch him a lot going to Chiefs-Broncos games with Chad here, so I'm getting real sick of it as well.
Well, I bring it up because hopefully if you're available around that time, maybe we can recap it afterwards or preview it whenever the time might be convenient for you, because we'd love to have you on again and talk about the Steelers, man.
Yeah, anytime. Hit me up, bring me on. If I don't respond right away, it's just because once all the sports once it's college football, college basketball, and the NFL,
It's crazy.
your boy would be working.
Yeah, sounds like you got a lot going on, man.
Yeah,
but either way, this has been a great time. So thanks for having me.
No, man.
Yeah,
thank you for hopping on. We appreciate your time immensely. So we hope you have a great rest of your night. Thanks for hopping on with us, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, fellas.
Yep.
Oh, he hung up. I didn't have to worry about hanging up on him.
He was ready to go.
That's when you need to tell him. Hang up when you're done, because I'll hang up on you. So yeah, that was Chris Carter from the Locked On Steelers podcast, as well as a multitude of other things that he does.
I love having these guys on, man, because it doesn't matter how much we watch like different sports, ESPN, whatever. Talking to these insiders and beat writers are really where you get some good information, because when you hear of Andy Weidel,
yep.
That, to me, that's a key piece of information because of what he did to Philly's offensive line. I'm glad I learned that.
Yeah,
it's like each time we talk to these guys, I learn something
There's
new.
Actually, when I Googled them, the first thing that popped up was the Big Book of Andy Weidel from Steelers Depot. Learn about Andy Weidel, the Steelers' new assistant GM who grew up in Western PA and worked for the Eagles for 6 years. So this basically gives you all of his influences and philosophy as to how to help shape a roster to win.
Wow.
So
pretty cool.
Yeah, did not know that. And, why would we know the assistant GM of the Steelers?
For real. All right. That's why we bring these guys on, man.
So, yeah.
We don't know, they do.
Yes. Thank Chad Lee. He is the booker of all these people. They don't like to respond to me, but they love to respond to Chad, and that is something that we love, because each and every week we're trying to get you somebody new.
Well, you get all the bands on, dude.
I get the bands.
I don't know any of these bands.
You get the people to talk to. So we all have our own facets here.
Yep.
And this was great, man. Super excited to have.
That was awesome.
Just more and more people that just fill us in and fill you guys in on stuff that we don't know about all the time. So
that's right.
It's good to have our fingers on the pulse of all things sports.
And this was cool too, because Russell Wilson, man, that hits close to home for you. So glad that we were able to get a little insight on this.
We talked about it. I wish well for Russell. I
think that's admirable, because he didn't do Denver anything wrong. It's Sean Payton, man.
He tried to do his best, and he got Nathaniel Hackett, which is now being heralded as one of the worst coach signings in all of NFL.
Yep.
And now you're listening to stuff coming out of the Jets where they're like, we're going to have to bring somebody in to kind of help him.
I'm pretty sure they did. I can't remember the guy's name, but they did bring somebody in.
I remember that they were talking about it. So it's I can't blame him. And the only thing you can say is the guy's too positive.
Dude, did you watch Hard Knocks where he's like, "Hi, I'm Nathaniel Hackett"?
Yeah. No, not Nathaniel Hackett. I'm talking about Russell Wilson. Nathaniel Hackett, I don't care how great of a person you are. When you're that bad at what you do, it's on you at some point. But Russell Wilson, all he did was try his best. The only thing you can say is he's just too much. He's too much Russell.
He's a cheese ball. I mean, that's
he's too much
work.
Mr. Unlimited.
But that's just the thing
problem.
is, like, sometimes, it's like what we've talked about with Michael Jordan and Kobe and stuff like that. In order to be like a cutthroat champion, you gotta have like some mean in you.
Russell
and he ain't mean, dude.
No, he ain't that.
He tried to with the Danger Witch, but we didn't believe him. We did not believe him. It's not dangerous, Russ.
Spicy. When you have to say it like that, it's definitely not dangerous.
No.
But what is dangerous and tough is Tough Bluff.
Yeah.
Hailing out of Denver, Colorado, we've got Tough Bluff coming at you the last bit of this month. We kind of screwed them, but I'm doing them a bonus because we are playing 2 of their songs each week off of their debut album, Tough Bluff. It's a self-titled album. You can find it anywhere and everywhere that you stream music. Last week we played 2 songs. This week we are playing, let me tell you, Banishing Spell and NUMB. And they are coming at you right now.
Hit it.
An open book, I lay my cards on the table. You hide your eyes and you roll the dice. You're not on the level.
Your life converts your mind backward. Blur lines and broken cables. Bright lights always shine through gloomy nights. You're not on my level.
This house is burning down. Behind my back is a book of matches. I can't put the fire out. Last time I fell in love, I was posting up with everything in the room, till I got my hands on you. He's so cold, won't you look into his eyes to say, no remorse and nothing to regret, the end is coming soon. Do the numb, do the numb, do the numb. I was just a pacemaker. Last time I fell in love, say no one my soul to take. Last time I fell in love, back against the wall, hard under my shoe, and two arms around you. She's so far, won't you look into that empty face? No recourse, uniquely qualified to be alone. Whoa, do the numb, do the numb, do the numb. Be alone, be alone, be alone. Do the numb, do the numb, do the numb.
And you just heard Tough Bluff, Banishing Spell, and Numb were the name of those songs off their self-titled debut album, Tough Bluff, which comes to you thanks to Snappy Little Numbers and Motorcycle Potluck Records, both local Denver kind of DIY indie record labels. If you could please like and follow them on all things streaming. They're a really cool kind of like garage rock, pop punk band. They got a lot of good things going on. We've known them for quite a while. I mentioned that last episode. But if you can, please go to tuffbluff.bandcamp.com. That is TUFFBLUFF.bandcamp.com. You can see where they're playing next, which is probably somewhere in Denver shortly, or hopefully soon, because they always put on a good show. And you can buy and purchase music and merch directly from them, which, as always, we recommend doing, which we also recommend going and buying our own merch, which you can get at threadless.com, fringefanatics.threadless.com. But needless to say, we are in the second half of the episode, and we got some more sports to talk to you about.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We got the rest of sports.
The rest of it.
But first, we just hit the turn, and
We only have enough whiskey for one more shot, but we're going to do a bigger shot at the turn shot.
yeah, I guess maybe I'll just sip it, and we'll
Let's just
I'll
do a
finish.
shot. We don't need to do it.
I'm not gonna sip it. Yeah, that's weird.
Don't do that. We just won't do a last one, dude. Sometimes
right.
we do dry episodes. We don't have to end with a shot.
All right, fair enough, man.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media, and make sure that you always hit that like and subscribe button. And
Let's
we
get
love
drunk.
you all. Toodles. Well, not toodles. I don't know why I
Well,
said
that was a full shot. Whew. God damn.
I told you. It was like a 3/4 shot, honestly. This
gonna
is a
make
full
me
shot,
start-
Chad. Probably right to there.
Yeah,
We had a full shot.
1.5 ounces. I looked it up over the weekend.
It's 2 ounces.
I don't know how to Google it, man.
The hell?
1.5
I thought it was
to 2.
2.
It's 1.5 to 2, depending
Well,
on
if you're
the
in
shot glass.
Utah, it's 1.
Oh, is that what they limit it to? I
They
forget.
have
Yeah.
like automated shot pourers on every bottle,
God.
and it only allows you to pour one shot.
Utah sounds so lame.
And you can't buy booze. I think you can't
Why
buy
do you
booze
live
on
there,
Sundays,
Alex?
but only until a certain time. But needless to say, this has nothing to do with Salt Lake. But we're back to sports. So
Yep.
let's get into. Where do you want to go first?
Well,
Tell
let's
me.
talk about the big topic that is the Celtics, man. Let's get into the NBA.
Okay.
Woo! Tennessee whiskey.
Take it roll! Take it roll! Outlet! Outlet! Rain dance!
I do like to sing.
Hell
Oh,
yeah,
the
man.
crooner. You know?
Crooner?
Crooner.
What do you mean?
It's like a singer.
Oh,
Come on!
never heard
Like
that
they
term.
would say Frank Sinatra's a crooner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
So yeah.
Well, Well, it happened last night. Celtics won their 18th title.
Record setting.
They broke the tie with the Lakers, which I was kind of happy about. At least out of both teams that I don't like the Lakers more. If that's a double negative, it makes sense. But yeah, dude, it's just. I was talking about it with Brandon at work today, and man, it's just nuts. Like, the Celtics really have an all-star team from top to bottom almost. I mean, even Derek White, dude. I didn't even realize he was from Colorado.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I did not realize Derek White was from Colorado. What town is he from?
Played at UCCS and then also played at CU. I don't know
I
where
saw
he's
he played
from.
at CU, but I don't know where
he's from. But
dude, Drew Holiday,
it.
Porzingis. I mean, of course, Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's 4 of their guys are like, that's an all-star team. It's just unreal. Like, I don't know. So they won. The Mavs won Friday night after we had recorded last episode, and they won big by 38, but I really didn't put any merit in that game at all. I don't feel like a lot of people did. It's every headline was like, Mavs blow out Celtics, when I feel like the headline should have read, Celtics let Mavs win one game
to get them home,
so that it's not a gentleman's sweep, and then they go home. And I watched it last night. I was really into it, and then by the mid-second quarter,
the halftime, dude, it was over.
Well, by mid-second quarter is really when they started pulling away. I mean, it was just not even a game. Luka Doncic still can't get it right.
Doncic.
Yep, Doncic.
It's weird.
28 points. Went 2 for 9 from 3 points. Shot pretty much 48% from the field. The big story, Kyrie cannot play in Boston. 5 of 16.
Yeah, terrible game for him. Basically, he goes 13 for 37 in Boston in games 1 and 2, including 0 for 8 from 3. Finishes with 15 points, 5 of 6 for shooting in game, or 5 for 16 in game 5.
Yeah,
Kyrie was non-existent.
Nope.
I mean, it's sad because before this series started, dude, we're like, Kyrie, turn around. But
dude, he tore up the Timberwolves, man.
He did. And one thing I will say though, and maybe this is kind of like, I guess like a nod to what we said, is that he did wait and thanked and, sat there and waited for every teammate to go out and leave through the tunnel and kind of acknowledge everybody.
Well, even then, right when it was like 2 minutes left when they took him out, the game's clearly over, he went to the Boston bench and like congratulated everyone. I mean, he was a stand-up guy. Good sportsmanship, I'll give him that, but his sportsmanship is way better than his jump shot in this series.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what sucks. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, it just is such a bummer because, with us being so invested in it with the Nuggets, and then when they get knocked out, all of our hopes lie in the Mavs, and this is the most anticlimactic series I could remember. Maybe some people say that about the Nuggets in Miami.
You can say that about the conference finals.
Oh yeah,
we're kind of like okay.
Yeah, no, for real. Like most of the playoffs weren't that good.
Do you want to know what I think killed it too a lot was the amount of time in between games. I think there was 6 days after the finals ended, or the conference finals before the finals started.
Yeah.
Like, why not ride the wave of a little bit of momentum? Like,
this is where you and I disagree.
You think that
it's the same way with the week before the Super Bowl. I'd much rather these guys get healthy. That's why Porzingis was able to get back. When Porzingis is in there, they cannot score in the paint. I mean, I watched multiple times.
They would have won the series without Porzingis.
They wouldn't have?
They would have.
Yeah, no, they would have. Yeah. But he just makes... I mean, it's almost like when he's in there, it's not even a series. When he wasn't in there, they win by 38, and they did lose game 3 without Porzingis. But, I mean, it's just like when he is such a presence in the paint, and I totally stand corrected. The beginning of the season, I did not have any faith in Porzingis. You were calling him the unicorn. That is what he's called. I just did not.
It was jokingly.
No, yeah. But that is his nickname because he's got a good jump shot. He's a good three-point shooter.
7-3.
But, man, I stand corrected. He played stellar ball, and we haven't even touched on it. Jaylen Brown was brilliant, dude. And then at the end of the game, Jason Tatum was just carving up that defense that had already given up, and he was just having fun with them.
Yeah, Jason Tatum had a better game 5. I think Jaylen Brown got the MVP, the Finals MVP, off of the breadth of his whole playoff.
And he does deserve it.
Because let me just read you this here. Let me just give you a little stat here real quick. The 2024 Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, averaged 20.8 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 5.4 rebounds on 44, 23, and 73 splits. Jamal Murray last year averaged 21.4 points per game, 10 assists per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, and 45, 39, and 93 split.
Damn.
And our Finals MVP this year was not even real. I mean, in comparison, it looks like half of what Jamal did.
It was
last
almost
year.
like the Conn Smythe Award. They gave it to him instead of it just being a Finals MVP.
So I don't know, man. Like, and I think that that alone kind of just shows you how lackluster this Finals was.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't much. I mean, there wasn't a close game at all in this series.
There was
one.
I mean, there's the 105 to 98 game 2, the 106 to 99
That's still
game
a
3.
7-point difference.
It's a 7-point difference, and you know a lot of that was garbage time. So, so you look at those and say, okay, I'll give you a 10-point win. But
we got to mention it as well. I mean, hats off to the Celtics, but we have to mention it. How well do you think they would have gone through if Jimmy Butler doesn't get hurt? If
oh yeah, of course.
Let's see. They went on to play the Bucks, was it? And then Dame got hurt. Giannis was already.
They didn't
hurt.
even have Giannis.
And then they go on to play the Pacers, and Tyrese Halliburton gets hurt.
And
then
two,
in the finals, they're playing a banged up Luka Doncic that is just totally bruised and battered.
Just say Luka.
I'm gonna say Luka Doncic. It's like weird when I say it in normal life. I can get it right. Doncic. It's like Luka Doncic.
Yeah, you get like Sweden on it.
Yeah,
Swedish.
But
needless to say,
they had an easy path.
Oh, they did, and that's what I don't want to hear anything about the Nuggets path last year because it was not even remotely as easy.
Not even close.
I mean, they may have had an easier regular season, and I'll give them that because after the All-Star break, they were cruising away with it was locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with like 15 games left, they could have probably just sat all the starters and probably still wound up with the first seed. But the regular season was different. I hate to say it though, like, you know, hindsight's 2020, and this is my buzzer beater in terms of homerism right now. But I don't think the Nuggets would have beat them this year.
No, I don't. I definitely don't think so. I mean,
Boston
they couldn't even beat the Timberwolves this year. You know.
I mean, I think if they got past them, but
that's the thing. Yeah. If they did, but they
if
couldn't.
Some butts are candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Exactly. You know, and we could go on about this forever. But hats off to the Celtics. I do think it's really admirable that the best team in basketball, this doesn't happen very often, where the best team of the regular season ends up winning the championship. It doesn't happen very often.
No President's Cup trophy curse over here in the NBA.
Not at all. And I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, they finished the season, playoffs included, 80. I believe it was 80-21. That's
they went 16-2.
I think it was 3. I think it was
might have been 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Nuggets went 16-4 last year.
Yeah.
That was a great run. I think the Warriors have gone 16-1.
Yeah.
When they went that 73 win season.
And then Kobe went 15-1, I think.
Yeah, and then at one point when they had the 5-game series in the first round, someone went like 12-1 or 12-2 or something.
Oh yeah, back when they had yeah. But needless to say, Celtics won 18th championship in history. So, you know, hopefully, and I mean, I don't see any reason. They're definitely going to be. They're already, I think, favored next year. Everybody's coming back. It's just unfair how good that team is, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Just in terms of the depth of the team as a whole, but their starting 5 is just really, really good.
Well, yeah, and I mean, really, the depth is good. I mean, Pritchard. Derek White, who is a starter, but I mean, the depth on that team is really damn good, and I don't see anybody stopping them. But
Yeah, and I think they right now are favored again to repeat. So.
Yeah,
but I mean
so.
the Nuggets were as well the day after. So things
Well,
change.
we got a lot of sports to talk about. Let's keep moving on.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's get to some hockey.
You want to go to hockey? Let's do it. Let's get the big stuff out of the way. Here we go. All right. Well, Connor McDavid and the Oilers beat up on who is probably going to be the eventual Conn Smythe winner in the Panthers goalie. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. I just
Bobrovsky?
Bobrovsky.
Yeah, he got pulled.
Damn it.
After 5 quick goals on Saturday night. But I believe this was actually exactly the same as the NBA. I feel like the Panthers were like
game 4 for the Mavs. Yeah,
we're not going to sweep them. We're going to have a gentleman's sweep. Let's let them have one. That's why they gave up 8 goals.
Yeah.
When does that happen in finals?
In the final. Or the final.
The final.
The
Excuse me.
final.
The final.
Yeah, that's.
I know.
I'm a piss off hockey guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the thing though. It's so weird in a situation like this where you are clearly the favored team. Had they won like 3-2 in like double overtime, I'd be like, ooh, they better be worried.
Yeah.
But 8-1, you're just like, we don't have it.
Nope.
Let's go win it at home. Whatever. And I think that is probably what's going to happen. The game is about to, we got puck drop here in probably next 10 to 15 minutes.
We got it on right now.
In Florida. This would be the first time that they have won it.
Yeah.
And they got damn close last year. Bobrovsky is playing out of his mind. Like I mentioned, he is going to be the eventual Conn Smythe winner, I think, because I don't know who else can beat him out at this point.
Vegas odds has him winning it right now.
Yeah, I mean, Kachuk would probably be next in line in terms of winners, but...
And we got to touch on that, too. Kachuk and Jason Tatum went to the same, I think, middle school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like photos of them on the bus when they're like in 7th grade.
Wild.
So there's like,
how insane is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like these two who grew up together, really close friends, are going to win their first championship each in the same year.
Yeah, there's a lot of synchronicities this year in the finals. I mean, we almost had the Stars, the Mavs in the finals, or the final and the finals. We almost had the Nuggets and the Avalanche in the finals. Yeah. You know, like there was a lot of like a Boston and the Bruins.
Yeah,
that was
that's
almost
true.
a thing.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
a lot of crazy
the
things,
Heat
man.
and the Panthers.
Yeah.
So this was a pretty wild year for the playoffs, but then just the ending of it, kind of a bummer.
I know.
I think this one's probably gonna end tonight. I think
so too. I'm really hoping the Oilers. I'm really banking on the Oilers to win because I just want, now that the finals are done with the NBA, I want a good series. I mean, if for both of
the
these
NBA
two,
was just kind of like, man, it's done.
And it's done. I mean, we all knew the Celtics were that good all year long, but we were hoping that someone could challenge it because we knew the West was so good. But yeah, didn't live up to it. But hopefully the Oilers can save us and get a upset tonight. But we'll see. It's about to drop right now.
Yeah. I 2 weeks ago I said I think the Oilers will win. And they have been thoroughly outplayed. Last night was the first night that they actually got their, strength as a focal point in a game against the Panthers, where the power play actually worked for them. Like Chad said, they got at Bobrovsky early and fast with breakaways and a bunch of scoring chances, stuff they have not been able to do in the first 3 games. And
they're a fast team.
Yeah,
and really fast.
And in the first 3 games, Florida has just outplayed the Oilers, kind of like what I mentioned last week with the Kraken and the Avalanche in round 1 last year. It's like you've got these 2 like pillars of players on one team, and then one team that's just really good overall.
A super defensive team.
Yeah,
too.
and they do all the nasty stuff that doesn't show up on stat sheets, hits. I think game 4 I think was the only game that Florida was out hit by the Oilers.
Wow.
Case in point, like they're winning in the corners, they're winning against the glass, they're doing the nitty-gritty stuff, which these teams that only have like the 2 main guys can't do, because unfortunately you've got so much invested in those guys, If the other guys don't all fall into place, you are going to be severely lacking. And the Panthers are just looking like the team this year, and I'm excited that somebody who hasn't won it yet is going to win it.
Yeah, that will be nice.
Because there ain't no way Oilers are going to win 4.
No, there's no way.
No way. 4 straight? Yeah, right.
Well, let's hope. I want a good series.
I do too. I mean, I'd love it to go get to 7, but it ain't. But it is what it is. Let's quick get into F1.
Let's do a little preview here.
This is super short. I'll probably be done talking about it before these guys go by on the track. But this weekend we have the Aramco Spanish GP at the Circuit de Barcelona. It's the 21st to the 23rd. The full race is on June 23rd, Sunday at 7 a.m. So set your alarms and get ready for a rip-roaring race. Hopefully it's as entertaining as the last one.
Yeah, this is a first of a triple header, though. We're going to start out in Spain, then we're going to go next week, or the week after, to Qatar for the Red Bull Ring, and Qatar Airways Austrian GP. So we're going to go to Austrian. Should finish reading that. And then the very next week, we'll be going to British Grand Prix for the Silverstone circuit. So
Great Britain.
Triple header coming our way. So we'll be covering lots of F1 over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, the nice thing I do like about the F1 season is I do enjoy the breaks.
Yeah, it is
like
kind of
the
nice.
week break.
It's nice.
Like, honestly, I think, like, in an ideal world, I wouldn't mind if the NFL
I was
played
just
every
thinking
other
the same
week.
thing, yeah.
But
I'd be starving for it, man.
You would.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like, we should play on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, and Saturdays. Why not? And Monday.
Did you see that Scott Hansen, I think you shared that to me, filmed that guy that was like
that was his car, I thought.
I thought it was somebody else's car that wrecked. He was just walking by and filmed it.
Yeah, and the guy grabbed like a half a watermelon out of it, and Scott Hansen's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and so he filmed it. It's like, dude, Scott Hansen's a hero all the time.
7 hours of continuous watermelon coverage or something like that.
That was awesome, dude. Got some good views, too.
It did.
Yeah.
Tune into that. Let's get into the PGA, though, real quick.
Yeah, lots to cover here.
Yeah, lots to cover on the PGA.
Son of a bitch, Paul. Why didn't you just go home? That's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me.
If you were Rory McIlroy, the ball was too good to go home as he missed a heartbreaker of a putt.
He was mad and didn't handle it like a good sportsman either.
Not like you would in the golf world.
No.
I mean, the golf's all about, just being classy, following the rules. And Rory just choked.
I think he should have been mad at himself more than anybody because he bogeyed 3 out of the last 4 holes.
I think if it was anybody other than a live guy,
yeah,
I think it would have been fun. I think as much as he's been vocal about the live stuff, I think the fact that a live guy beat him was like, and especially right there, you're just
he was that close too,
away, dude.
And especially on the 18th,
away.
This is what I really want to touch on. Bryson DeChambeau makes the shot of the century. I mean, it's already touted as like going down in golf lore. On the 18th hole, Bryson DeChambeau teed off, falls into the bunker. He's 55 yards away from the hole on a par 3, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And I think at this time he's only 1 stroke ahead of Roy. Hits it from the bunker all the way 55 yards and lands 3 feet from the hole. Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah, the chances of hitting it inside 4 feet were 1.7%.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want. I felt like I wasn't sure if you were gonna just throw that out there.
We teamed up on it. That's just great, man.
High five right here.
Yep, right. Hit it.
Yep.
But I like Bryson DeChambeau because he's to me pulled a page out of John Daly's book where they showed a graphic while I was watching the U.S. Open. I think on Saturday, dude. And his average, they showed all of the graphics of where the average lies were landing. After on their tee shots. And then another 20 yards. There's Bryson. Yeah. He's just leaps and bounds upon everybody else.
You realize he's like a maniac, right? He is soaking his balls. He's floating them in Epsom salt. Because since it's man-made, no sphere is going to be perfect. And since there's dimples on the ball's never going to be actually round because the dimples are going to fall in weird areas. So he's floating the balls in Epsom salt, and the heaviest part of the ball is going to float to the bottom, and then he's marking that. And then when he's putting those balls, he's making sure that mark is rolling over and over and over, because he's realized that there's such a deficiency in the actual like making of the balls.
Holy cow, man.
Dude,
that is calculated.
It's insane.
I did not know that.
If you ever like watch or listen to him talk about golf, like, dude, it's so... He's like a
savant, pretty much.
I didn't want to say he's like basically like on the spectrum in terms of like the way he breaks down golf.
To me, that's a compliment, really.
It really is, because it's on a level where like people are pissed at him because they're like, you're doing too much, dude.
Damn,
like, come on, man.
But look, it's working, man.
It is.
Yeah,
and he's winning, and I think the big FU to the whole PGA Tour was going to live and him being like the up and coming star. But I like it because it's a good story.
And it is. I mean, and he's been golfing really well, too. That last major, he was right up there in the top and then kind of fell back. And, I mean, dude, he's really been golfing well. This is his second career U.S. Open. I think he won it in 2020, right?
Yeah, I think he's one of 4 golfers to win the U.S. Amateur and the U.S. Open multiple times.
Wow.
Or possibly just both of them. I don't know if it's multiple times, but yeah, he's now won the U.S. Open twice. So,
well, hats off to him. Yeah, Rory McIlroy, man. He what we were getting at was he was watching if Bryson was gonna bogey that last hole, which would have led to a playoff, and Bryson made it, and he just walked out. Didn't talk to the media. Didn't congratulate Bryson or anything. I think 2 days later, or maybe a day later, he finally apologized and then congratulated him, but a little too late.
Yeah, but it is what it is. What's the next golf tournament coming up? Do you know?
I don't have it pulled up.
Well, we're going to look at that, and then we are going to get into the daily dose of excellence.
We got to talk about baseball, though.
Well, do you want to get into baseball?
I want to talk about Paul Skeens, dude.
Okay, well, we'll talk about Paul Skeens, and we'll hit the...
yeah, we don't need to talk about the standings.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. Rocket Mortgage Classic is this weekend. So
okay, cool.
Who knows what the fuck that is.
All right, we got a new superstar coming into baseball. He's comes out of LSU. That's kind of how he's another reason why he's famous is I don't know if he's still dating her, but he was dating Olivia Dunn.
Oh,
which is
gymnast.
Wow. So maybe
she
one reason why
had to get like security services to follow her around, being she got like so famous.
Oh, she's ridiculously famous, man. She's got like 1 billion Instagram followers, and that's probably one reason he's pitching with a lot of confidence because he's a rookie. Led LSU pretty far into the College World Series last year. He's 4-0 right now. He's struck out 53 guys so far. And last night he got the win. They beat I can't remember who they played, but they won.
It would have been
4-1.
The Reds.
No, thank you.
And he also managed to get his first career pickoff. And do you know who it was against?
Was it Ellie De La Cruz?
Yes, one of the best base runners in the MLB.
He picked off. I did not realize that.
He picked off Ellie De La Cruz.
Wow. Well, he had 7 strikeouts last night. I am a big fan of Skeens so far. This guy's got a mustache like he'll throw you in jail after you just got a DUI. I mean, he's
very Farva-esque. It's like Super Troopers and Eastbound and Down had a baby, and he's really good at pitching and deals like 100-mile-per-hour.
He basically has 5 pitches, and 3 of them are fastballs that are over 95.
I think his first face-off against Ohtani, he threw like 4 pitches to him, and the first 3 were all over 100 miles per hour. And Ohtani's just like, shit.
And that really made a lot of news last week, as I think it was. Maybe it was before we recorded last week or not, but it was a really good face-off. Because he struck out Ohtani, and then the second time, Ohtani went yard and hit it in the middle of the field, home run, and it was just iconic because Skeens, just being an admirable rookie, looks at it and just smiles the whole way. Like, you can't help but to be a fan.
First of many.
That's right.
It's unfortunate when you pitch that many pitches, a few are going to get rocked out of the park. Well, we are going to dive more into the MLB next week because now we have more time. as both of these series, I think, will be wrapped up. The NBA is done now until next year, and the NHL, I think, for sure by next week will be wrapped up.
Yeah, maybe tonight. We'll see. But remember the name Paul Skeens, everybody.
Yeah, go check him out. Check out his highlights. He's quite the character, and he's really good at baseball, and I like it.
Throws it really hard.
Yes, but it is that time, which if anybody resembles Paul Skeens, or if Paul Skeens could resemble anybody, it would be this man right now.
Damn right.
Mr. John Daly, and he's about to hit it hard. Well, we are going to talk about something that I didn't even think we were going to talk about.
I never thought we would talk about this, but
excuse you.
Excuse me. It's pretty amazing. When I saw the headline, I did not understand how it even came to be, but the USA has a cricket team, and they have advanced in the World Cup of Cricket, I believe it is. They advanced to the Super 8s.
The ICC Men's T20 World Cup. I don't know what that all means.
I don't
That's
either.
what it is.
Yep. The victory against Pakistan was one which not only shocked the cricketing world, but also broke through into the wider U.S. sports discourse. Now it's where we're talking about it. Not only is the U.S. one of the co-hosts of the T20 World Cup for the first time, but it is making its debut appearance on its stage. It comes at an important moment for the sport in the U.S. too, with efforts being made to establish a foothold in the country in recent years. Because this is why I wanted to talk about it. I don't even know how anybody in the U.S. gets involved with cricket. You don't... And
it's like when you see like those rugby teams. Like we have a really good rugby team here in Colorado.
Yeah. I had a buddy that played for KU rugby.
Yeah. Weird. But it happens.
Pretty crazy, man.
Case in point, we got a good cricket team.
But you know what? America. And we're doing well in cricket. We're going to take over everything.
Yeah.
So
cricket, here we come.
We just want to give hats off to the USA Cricket for advancing and starting to make a name for yourself in the cricketing world.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, the first time the committee for the U.S. cricket team glimpsed prospective players for the T20 National Championships was in late February in Texas. And a month later, they narrowed the pool down during the T20 training camp. So, I mean, you think about it, it's June. A lot of these guys just started playing cricket together for the U.S. in February, like 3 months ago.
That's unreal, man.
So it's built on short notice, and they capture a historic 2-1 victory over Bangladesh, marking its first series win against an International Cricket Council full-member nation, a status indicating a country's well-established and successful cricketing infrastructure. That is a lot of very big words that I don't feel like are used to describe any other sport.
Yeah.
Indicating a country's well-established and successful cricketing infrastructure.
Yeah.
There's an infrastructure for cricketing.
Did you know the cricket? I believe you could look this up, but I'm pretty sure cricket is the most popular sport in the world because it's so big in India, which the population is so big.
I still feel like soccer.
No. Look, check it out, dude. Google world's biggest sport. It's either soccer 1 or cricket 2, but I had no idea that cricket was it because cricket's huge in the United Kingdom.
There's
too.
a lot of okay, you're technically right. I was technically
That's
right.
all we need to know.
Football's #1 with over 3.5 billion fans and followers worldwide. It is the most popular sport in most countries and regions. It has most coverage from major online sports news websites. However, cricket with over 2.5 billion fans and followers worldwide. It is the most popular sport in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other countries in South Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So if it was big here, it would be the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah. And it's just, because it's big in those well-populated places. And that's just it. I'm looking here on the CNN article, and it's a picture of the USA fans, and there's this woman holding up a sign with a flag over it that says, "Cricket is here to stay." So
my sign
I might have to learn how the game works.
What is it?
We need like a cricket soundbite, like a cricket, just chirping away. But needless to say, we want United States to dominate in all sports, and this is the route to do that.
We talked about this before we got going. I said cricket matches last a long time. Real quick, what do you think the longest cricket match is?
I think it was. I remember watching this game back like in 2022.
You did not watch this.
I know. I'm saying 27 hours.
Dude, you are so wrong.
No way. What is it? 2 days?
43 hours over 12 days.
How is that?
The longest cricket game of all time dates all the way back to March 1939 when England faced South Africa in a test match. What's a test match?
What is a test match?
I don't know, but they were testing something. Yeah. It lasted 43 hours over 12 days with 1,000, Chad, listen, 1,981 runs and 5,447 balls. The two teams could not be separated. I don't know what
I don't
that
understand.
means.
I don't understand cricket at all.
I just know you hit the ball and then you're supposed to run back and forth. Like, literally, like,
What?
oh, shit. Like, you hit the ball and then there's only, like, one base. So, like, you hit it, and then you run from that one to the other one, and then however many times, and if you were a cricket fan, by all means, tell me I'm an idiot.
Please correct us, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
That's nuts, man. I don't know if this is going to be... I'm right on the fringe of this sport right now.
We are.
Yeah.
We are on the fringe, and you guys are learning about the fringe of sports. But
that's why we're the fanatics, the fringe fanatics, because we're going to bring out you all types of sports that you've never heard of, and we're learning about them.
Right along with you guys. So
yeah,
it's
I mean,
amazing.
dude, breakdancing in the Olympics this year. So
it really
you know
is,
what?
which makes no sense.
We're gonna
Greco-Roman wrestling, I think, is no longer a part of the Olympic sports.
Yeah,
but breakdancing is.
Yep, makes no
Riddle
sense.
me that. Well, that is it. It's the time for us to get out of here, everybody.
It is.
Episode 88,
Yep.
French Fanatics.
Like we said, next week we're gonna have on an Falcons insider
We're
beat
gonna be
writer.
doing that dirty bird.
Having on some dirty birds talking about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk
Thanks
Cousins.
for joining the French Fanatics podcast.
Yes.
To you all. We love you guys.
We'll be back next week. Toodles, y'all.